I wonder what we can discover just by slowing down and noticing the things around us.
When I have a worry-filled mind, I like to wander outside. No telling what we might find. Birds calling, worms crawling, leaves falling down from above. Oh, I plant my feet on the ground. I keep my head in the clouds. I let my feelings out loud. I hear joy calling, fear crawling, tears falling down out of love.
Welcome, friends. I'm so glad you decided to join me today. My name is Mrs. A, if you don't already know, and we're going to start off with a zones of regulation check-in. The zones behind me here represent different ways we might be feeling. And so I'll tell you a bit about them, and then I'm going to ask you to identify your zone, figure out what zone you're in. Now, as you can see, there are 4 color zones. The blue zone means that maybe you're feeling tired or moving slowly. Your body might not feel fully awake or energized. The green zone means that you are feeling really comfortable, really calm or focused. The yellow zone means that you're starting to lose control of your brain or your body. Maybe your thoughts are getting confused. Maybe you're feeling worried or anxious. And the red zone means that you are out of control of your body or your brain. Maybe everything feels really overwhelming. Maybe you feel like you can't control your voice or your body very well. And I wanted to remind you that while we are talking about the zones of regulation, there are no good or bad zones. Each zone is there to help us understand and communicate or share how we're feeling. And sometimes we feel one way, and sometimes we feel another way, and later we might feel a completely different way. And that's okay, because we're humans and we feel lots of different things throughout the day. Sometimes we can figure out what's making us feel a certain way. Sometimes we're not so sure. The feeling just kind of visits us out of nowhere. And so it's important that we practice noticing those feelings and naming those feelings and describing them. And the way we can do that today is by using our color zones. So I'd like you to take a moment to listen to your body and think about how it's feeling. Your brain, is it clear? Is it really busy? Somewhere in between? And your body. Our brains and bodies are always sending us messages. So let's listen. Once you feel like you've listened well to your body, you can decide which color zone fits best. The blue one, which is slow moving, the green one, which is comfortable or settled, the yellow one, which is maybe jittery or confused, and the red one, which is out of control or overwhelmed. And go ahead and grab an object that matches the color zone that you feel like you're in right now. Did you find an object? I found my stapleless stapler, and it is the color green because I'm feeling pretty settled, pretty awake and focused, pretty calm and peaceful. What about you? Thank you so much for sharing. Now, as a reminder, we practice a lot of different mindfulness techniques or different strategies that we can use to help us manage our feelings or work through some feelings if we're feeling stuck in a certain way or in a certain zone. And so be sure to hit that red subscribe button if you haven't already, because we'll talk about some mindfulness activities today and a new one each time I have a lesson with you. And so I'm really hopeful that we can all get better at practicing and understanding and naming and sharing our feelings. And one way to do that is to keep working at it. So thanks for trying it out. One thing we always practice together is doing some exercises and building our muscles, not only to help make our bodies strong, but also as a way to practice managing our emotions. Sometimes when I feel like I'm in the red zone, really overwhelmed, like I can't control my voice or my body, it helps me to move. It helps me to run. It helps me to walk. It helps me to jump or skip or dance. And maybe that's true for you too. Maybe you're not so sure. And so we often practice exercising together. And we use the date to help us so we don't have to think too much about it or get stuck not knowing what to do. And so the date for me right now might be different than the date for you. That's okay. You can always change the numbers. As I said, we just use the date to kind of help us get jump started. And the date for me today is 3/30/22. And so we're going to do 3 moves and then 30 different moves and then 22 different moves. And Vig is here to show us one of the moves that we'll be doing. Now I have to warn you, this is a pretty tricky exercise. Might not be very easy to understand exactly what Vig is showing us, but you can try shaping your body in that way. You can make some guesses. You can think back. Maybe we've done this exercise before. And Vig will tell us in just a little bit, but for now, you can guess or wonder or think about what they're showing us. And we're going to start with 3 jumps. And jumps are great because you can do them sitting or standing, whatever's best for your body or your space. And you can do big jumps or little jumps. You can do spin jumps or regular jumps, however you'd like to move. Let's get ready to do 3 jumps. 1, 2, 3. Now we need Vig's help. What are we going to do 30 of? Cross body punches. Oh, thanks, Vig. That is tricky. Again, you can do this sitting or standing, whatever is best for you. If you're going to stand up, it might help to put out your one leg as you punch up in the air. If you're going to sit, it might help to leave your legs resting. Now, we're going to do 30 of these. And if you've been with me before, you know we're practicing counting by 2s. And counting by 2s is a really helpful way for us to challenge our brains, to learn a bit more about numbers, think differently about counting than maybe we usually do. And when we count by 2s, we're going to only say the even numbers, not the odd ones. For example, if we were counting by 2s up to 10, it would go like this. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, and so on. So we're going to count all the way up to 30. And if you know how to count by 2s, awesome. If you don't know how to count by 2s yet, that's awesome too, because now you'll have a chance to practice. So let's do 30 punches across our body, counting by 2s. Ready? 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18, 20, 22, 24, 26, 28, 30. Amazing job, friends. Big thanks for that great workout. And last but not least, we have 22 exercises to do. And I thought we could do inverted push-ups. You might be wondering, what in the world do you mean, Mrs. A? And maybe you know push-ups, where you are facing the ground, your belly and your body is almost laying flat. You push up with your arms. An inverted push-up means we are going to be pushing down or backwards. And so you might need a table or a couch or a comfy chair to help rest your hands on. You'll stick your legs out straight or bent in front of you. We'll do push-ups backwards or inverted. And we're going to do 22 of them. So again, we'll be counting by 2s. Ready? 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18, almost there, 20, 22. Fantastic job. Now, I don't know about you, but my heart is beating quickly My muscles feel warmed up. I'm ready to go. And so anytime we do our exercises, we always finish up with some cool down breaths. It helps bring our heart back to a resting place. It helps cool our body down and just refocus and clear our minds. So you can listen for a bell. When you hear it, fill your belly big and then slowly let the air out. Let's breathe. I hope you are feeling nice and cooled down and ready for our next step together. I was just looking at my feelings chart or poster here, which you can get for just $1 when you become a patron or supporter of my work. And I was thinking about how joyful and excited I feel right now because we are going to talk about something today that is really near and dear to my heart, something that really makes me feel happy and excited and joyful. And maybe it makes you feel that way too. I'm excited to share it with you, so I don't want to waste any more time. Let's get started looking at our message right away. Now, in this message, you may notice some alliterations or onomatopoeias. And maybe you already know, but an alliteration is when there are words that are next to each other or nearby that start with the same letter or sound. And onomatopoeias are sound words like and bang. So be on the lookout for them as I read. Dear discoverers and curious kids, in the northeastern part of Turtle Island, where I am, there are many signs of spring showing up all around. Yippee! Have you spotted sprouts? Seen songbirds? Noticed new life in your yard? It feels like the earth is waking up with a big stretch. It's my most favorite time of year. What about you? I'm also looking forward to sharing some curious and clever naturalists with you today. Love, Mrs. A. I'm curious, I shared that spring is my most favorite time of year. What about you? Do you have a favorite season? Oh, cool. Yeah. And then I also mentioned that I'm going to be sharing some naturalists with you. That's a pretty big word. Have you ever heard of the word naturalist? Yeah, do you hear any words in it that you know or are familiar with? Natural. A naturalist is somebody who studies and observes and notices things in nature. Many times they are just people like you and me who are curious and interested and wondering about the world around them. And sometimes they become scientists or doctors and they use nature to help them in their work. And so we're going to learn about some naturalists today. And I'm really looking forward to this book that I have to share with you because it features some incredible naturalists and scientists from around the world. So let's jump right in. It is called What's in Your Pocket? Collecting Nature's Treasures. And it's written by Heather L. Montgomery with illustrations by Maribel Lechuga. And I am wondering, before we even start, what do you notice on this cover? Yes, so many beautiful treasures from nature are flowing out of their pockets. Have you ever collected any nature? Have you ever found any shells or feathers or leaves or acorns? I see so many fun examples of things I have collected, and maybe you have also collected. And we're going to learn about some other folks, like I said, who have collected treasures or discovered themselves. When you explore the great outdoors and find strange and wonderful things, do you put them in your pocket? Do you add them to your collection? Do you make amazing discoveries? Young collectors make significant discoveries too. Trained to see details and seek patterns, collectors of any age can surprise us with their finds. And so, even as someone as young as you, if you take the time to notice and discover what nature is holding, you may be able to contribute to science. And we're going to hear about someone who did just that. Mary found lots and lots of fossils. Her whole family collected them. When her brother spotted something sticking out of a cliff, Mary dug and dug until she discovered. Do you have any guesses of what she may have discovered? An entire skeleton. Young Mary's discovery helped people realize that animals can go extinct. That means they could be alive for a certain time and then all of them could die off. All of that type of animal could be extinct. Mary Anning lived in a time before people knew much about fossils or extinction. She was just 12 years old when she discovered a skeleton that didn't match any living creature. Scientists named it ichthyosaur, meaning fish lizard. Ichthyosaurs lived during the time of dinosaurs and died out millions of years ago. So before her discovery, we didn't know that animals could go extinct, like the dinosaurs, and Mary's discovery helped us learn that. Let's learn about another naturalist. Maria found caterpillars. She collected them. She painted them. Then Maria discovered that caterpillars are part of... What do you think she discovered that caterpillars are part of? A science surprise! Young Maria showed the world that caterpillars turn into butterflies. Have you ever seen a caterpillar transform into a chrysalis and pop out as a butterfly? It really is a science surprise, a total miraculous thing to witness, a beautiful magic trick. And Maria Sibylla Marin lived in a time when most people did not understand the life cycle of insects. People thought that adult insects grew out of mud, rotting meat, or old fruit. But when she was 13, Maria started collecting caterpillars. She watched them closely and painted what she saw. Later, Maria created books about the wonder of metamorphosis. Metamorphosis is the transformation from caterpillar to butterfly. When something completely changes, metamorphosis. Bonnie found creatures in tide pools. She filled her pockets with shells and sand from the sea. Have you ever done that? Me too. As a teenager, Bonnie collected sea slugs. She borrowed slugs from other scientific collections. She looked closely at slugs everyone thought were the same. Young Bonnie's observations led to... Do you have any guesses? The discovery of a brand new creature. Bonnie Lay lives in modern times, when advanced tools help scientists make new discoveries. When she was 15, Bonnie Lay looked at the shapes, patterns, and tongues of sea slugs. Using chemicals and computers, she read the secret code called DNA from inside their bodies. Bonnie helped identify a type of sea slug that had never been recognized before by science. So when she was 15, she was making these observations and looking carefully and noticing, and made a discovery of a new type of creature, a new sea slug. Throughout history, kids have found all kinds of strange and wonderful things. They've created collections. They've made discoveries. They've changed the world of science. Every discovery started with just one thing. One little thing that could fit in a pocket. what's in your pocket. So friends, I want to encourage you to not only grab this book, What's in Your Pocket, from your library or bookstore, but to read through and learn more about all of the different naturalists and scientists that are featured in this book. There are so many that I didn't have a chance to share with you that are so interesting and really cool to learn about. So be sure to grab your own copy and learn all about them. I also want to encourage you to go and make your own discoveries. Maybe even start a nature journal or a nature collection, just like we saw in this book, and see what you can see, and spot what you can spot, and hear what you can hear. And go out into nature and notice and wonder. And maybe you'll be making the next scientific discoveries. I wanted to give a shout out to two very curious friends who are really focused on noticing and helping nature. And those are my friends Nora and Clayton. So if you're watching today, thank you so much for taking the time to make your observations. And thank you for sharing them with the world. I'm really excited to see all that you discover. Now, friends, I'd like to give you an opportunity to make some discoveries right now. And we don't even have to go anywhere. But for our mindful moment today, what I'd like us to do is actually take 1 minute to look around our space, maybe peek out a window if you'd like, and just look for living things, things that are alive and growing or breathing, and see what you notice about them. Maybe count how many living things, or just look and focus on one, really making those careful observations. And we'll take 1 minute to do this. But I'd like you to try it wherever you are. And if you're saying, there are no living things around me, you can look at yourself. You are an incredible, marvelous living thing. Let's take 1 minute to look for living things. All right, friends, what did you notice? What types of living things did you spot? Shout them. Oh, baby brothers, cats, plants, yourself. Awesome. Yeah, I'm wondering, how are you feeling now? We can do another zones check-in, or you can just think about naming a feeling or emotion, whatever feels best for you. I'm feeling really calm and peaceful. I was focused on one of the plants in my space. It's a living thing, and I was thinking about how it has so many leaves. And although they're very similar, they all look a little different, and they've sprouted up in different ways and in different directions. And that made me feel really calm and peaceful. What about you? Thank you so much for sharing, and thanks for taking that time to look for living things. That's just one of the mindful moments that we practice together, and you can do that anytime. Anytime you're feeling overwhelmed, or anytime you're feeling down or slow moving, try to take a mindful moment and use your senses like sight, or sound, or smell, and touch, or even taste, and see what you can discover and how it helps or how it affects or changes your body. So, friends, I hope you make it a great rest of the day. I want to send you off with some love if you'd like it, a hug if you want it, and I can't wait to see you next time.